Today we're unboxing an iPhone 5 that should be running iOS 6. I paid about $45 for this on eBay, so a really good price for one of these on its original software. The packaging looks good here. It's in a really nice sized box and I don't hear anything shaking around. Let's go ahead and get it opened up. Okay, and here it is. Looks like I am definitely seeing some scratches on the screen. They look somewhat deep, but not too bad. There are definitely some chips along the side as well. But that was super common on this slate colored iPhone. This color was actually only offered in 2012. You could get it here on the iPhone 5, the iPad mini, and some iPods as well. So because this slate color was basically painted onto the aluminum, it had a tendency to chip off. But of course, the main thing we worry about with iPhone 5s around here is that they are running iOS 6. So let's go ahead and see if this one has any battery power. And it does, and we are met with that classic Apple logo with the kind of reflection mark across it. So that definitely means we are running iOS 6. And we boot up here directly to the slide to unlock screen. So as we always do, we will go to settings, general, and about. And okay, looks like we are running iOS 6.1. So definitely not the first, but definitely not the last version of iOS 6 either. It looks like we have 5 applications installed. So what ended up happening when I looked at the apps on this device is that I realized they were internal apps for some sort of software development company. I also looked in the settings of the phone and there was a provisioning profile for that company set up. I looked up the company and it is definitely still running, so I decided not to show those apps. Thankfully though, I was able to remove the provisioning profile and reset the device as normal. I did find this text from April 8th, 2013, so this must have been the date that the phone was activated with AT&T. I was feeling kind of risky, so I decided to erase the phone from the settings to preserve the software, and we are ready to set it up now. And looks like we are through activation. Wow, that I am very thankful about that because with this device being linked to a company previously, that was definitely a bit of a risky move. Let's definitely use Siri so we can see if that works on iOS 6. And let's see the home screen now. Okay, perfect. Thankfully, that did not mess up the phone to reset it. I just got this Siri notification when I unlocked the phone, so I guess we will take its advice and go ahead and try out Siri. Hey Siri, what's up?
Well, right now, I'm either learning about quantum computing, or I'm not, but I hope that one day it won't be so binary. That will be a superposition.
Okay, well Siri is definitely working and has her sense of humor, so that's great to see here on iOS 6. One of the biggest features of the iPhone 5 was its new design. More specifically, its increased display size. Prior to the iPhone 5's release, the largest screen size you could get on an iPhone was 3.5 inches like I have here on my iPhone 4S. And Apple was definitely feeling the heat to increase their display size as a response to popular Android phones of the time, like this Samsung Galaxy S3, which had a 4.8-inch display. Apple's decision to move to this 4-inch display allowed for an extra row of icons on the home screen, and it really made everything you do on your iPhone better, especially watching widescreen video. It was also made from aluminum and glass as opposed to stainless steel and glass of the iPhone 4 and 4S. It was 18% thinner than the 4S and 20% lighter. It also introduced LTE connectivity, 2 times faster performance from the A6 chip, an improved rear camera that was capable of taking panorama photos, and a much improved front-facing camera. This was the first iPhone to use the new Lightning connector. The Lightning connector had so many benefits like being reversible and significantly smaller than the 30-pin connector before it. iOS 6 was a relatively small upgrade over iOS 5, especially when compared to iOS 7, which of course introduced a full redesign of the UI. iOS 6 had a major controversy regarding the Maps application. The Maps application all the way through iOS 5 used Google Maps. But at the time, Google Maps did not have great turn-by-turn navigation, so Apple developed their own Maps platform. But the customer satisfaction for this app was extremely low. The imagery of the maps would often be poor, and the turn-by-turn navigation would often get users lost. The application icon here infamously depicts your location pin driving off of an overpass. Apple actually released a public letter apologizing for the downfalls of the Maps application. However, one of Apple's main software engineers at the time, Scott Forstall, would not sign this letter. That conflict ultimately resulted in his departure from Apple. iOS 6 was also the first software version to ditch the built-in YouTube app. This version did introduce Passbook, which would then be replaced with Wallet in iOS 9. Let's take a look at the wallpaper selection in iOS 6. So the default option is this blue wave here, although I have always noticed that this image is actually very blurry. I believe I'm going to leave my unit on the default blue ripple. And let's take a minute to appreciate the UI sounds from iOS 6. This is actually my third iPhone 5 on iOS 6. I have a 32GB white model here on iOS 6.1.2, and I have another 16GB black model here, but running iOS 6.1.4. I definitely prefer the white and silver model here, especially because it would wear better than the slate color here. So that pretty much concludes my look at this iPhone 5 running iOS 6.1. This one has definitely been a roller coaster with the provisioning software and those weird pre-installed apps. But I am super happy to have another one of these in my collection. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.